Well, it's already 10 o'clock, so why don't we get going here? Um, Appreciate you all for joining us today, just for this quick 15-minute coffee break. I'm Andrew Schmidt, sales engineer on the VRV team, and today Ignacio Lopez with Daikin will be presenting our third and final presentation on a series that we've been doing with VRV best practices. The first two we discussed design and installation. And now we're going to be talking about service and maintenance. Ignacio is a perfect presenter for this due to his many years in the field. Thanks, Ignacio.
Hey everyone, good morning. So today I was asked to pick the topics that I wanted for maintenance and service. Like Andrew said, I had 10 years of experience in the field working on VRF equipment, and so what I chose based on the following and what I love to do. So we're going to start with the agenda. So the easiest one of them all, filters. Then we're going to move on to coils and heat exchangers. Just slight things on EVs, and then big one, data analysis. What to look for when issues arise. So in my many travels throughout the country, looking for big issues, one of the biggest ones that always arise is air filters. They need our help all the time. So if they're easy to be spotted, they usually get taken care of no problem. But sometimes what ends up happening is the harder ones get left behind. So airflow is crucial to what we do in the HVAC industry. It's how we're transferring our heat medium. So we want to make sure that it is super attended to at all times. And when it comes to it, proper movement of air throughout the space. The end user is going to be comfortable. They're not going to be hot or cold. And it's optimal to keeping our system operating healthy. So dirty filters can simulate low condition or low load conditions in the space. What that ends up leading to is low superheats, and low superheat means liquid has a potential of making it back to that compressor, and we never want that. On the other end of the spectrum, in the heating mode, where it's like blowing into a balloon and expecting it to go somewhere, but it can't. So we build pressure over and over and over in our system. We're putting extra strain on our compressors, and they're not going to give you the capacity they're supposed to, and they're not going to be working as easygoing as they should due to the fact that they can't reject that heat into the space. So our units will. Dirty filters will cause our units to lock down the EVs in a protective mode. So the beauty of VRV is we have all these sensors that are always talking to the main computer. And if an issue arises, the units will start to lock it down from time to time. So, of course, what that relates to again is uncomfortable customers, because the unit is no longer producing the capacity that it should be. So we don't want any hot, cold spots, any of that stuff. So, like I said, let's not let a $20, filter get in the way of thousands of dollars in compressor repairs. If I see it all the time, and it's a bad deal. So, ABCs of refrigeration: airflow before charge. So, some things that have been costly in the past. Like I said, our units will protect themselves. Our EVs will lock into position. But what that looks like to a technician out there that's not well versed with the equipment, due to the lack of refrigerant flow from the indoors, because the EV being protecting the unit, it'll start to look like an undercharge of the equipment, and so misdiagnosis can happen at that point. We definitely never want that to happen. But again, the crucial part is when the filters are out of sight, they're out of mind. It's very important to follow a tight schedule for filter changing, and know what's exactly there. I've been on sites where we find filters that nobody knew existed, 5 years after the install. And why did we know it was 5 years? Because technicians love to put dates and their initials on the filters. So don't get caught for that. Coils and heat exchangers, again, following the ABCs. Our units need to breathe, whether it's indoor or outdoor. Anywhere where there's a coil, that's because there's an exchange of heat happening. And what happens is the units that are on the roof during cottonwood season or June snow get forgotten. So they it stays there. The wind starts to drift a little bit. Maybe the main debris goes away, but some of the finer stuff gets embedded in the coil, and it always gets forgotten. Having a hose up there to hose them off is important. You know, a minimum twice a year during the heavy seasons where debris is floating around in the air. But if you could build or start talking to your customer to build it in on a quarterly basis, this would be amazing. So one of the things that I've seen in Colorado that I have never seen in my home state is there's water on the roof on all these buildings. And for me, that was a big deal that I had to call it out. Water was amazing. Having it on the roof was amazing. That's an important deal, but keeping these guys clean, it is super important, especially in the winter. In the winter, we're controlling two EEVs that are in the outdoor units, and we want to make sure that those are clean so we are absorbing heat and keeping the compressors nice and healthy. Let's not forget them, because what happens is if the fins get damaged or they can't get rid of water, ice is no joke. The picture I have here on the left is a coil that was so dirty with dirt that the water couldn't flow off of it easily, and so water got stopped up in it. Well, overnight it froze, and you guys could see the kind of carnage that ice can cause on one of these coils. The other things that happen is accidental contact, hail damage. I've seen people write their names on them when they're accessible from the street. These fins have to be brushed and straightened when something like that happens. So not only keeping them clean, but keeping those fins nice and uniform so they can move air through properly. Then we move on to EV testing of the indoor units. Like I said, we don't want any stray liquid ever making it to our compressors. So we want to make sure that we test our EVs once a year. At least at a minimum. It takes 1 hour to test these. There's a little process that I've put together. We could share with you guys if your contractors are asking for it. But what happens when the EVs malfunction? They can't hold back that liquid properly. It has the opportunity to make it to the compressor and cause headaches for everybody that's involved. So how do we find these things? Some time needs to be invested into a little bit of data analysis. Now we have choices here, and the exciting thing is in the recent past we have brought on Daikin Hero, which is a program that lets us do all of this from our living rooms or from wherever we are. I told this to a room full of technicians, and they said, I don't get paid when I'm in my living room, but imagine if you could be in your office doing this testing before you go out to the system, and you put together a list of action items that you already know you want to take care of when you're on the building. So when we performance test, of course, we want to put our units through its paces. So good compressor speeds. We want to be looking at those EVs that I mentioned to make sure there's no malfunctions. And Hero is going to help us do that way easier now moving forward. However, we still have Service Checker. I can't forget about Service Checker. My dear friend, and I have thousands of hours logged with Service Checker. Same deal, except the one thing is you have to be there, and a computer has to be connected to the unit on site. So. But what do you get with Hero? So Hero is going to save us a bunch of time due to the fact that we don't have to physically go to the outdoor unit and connect. Hero gives us one layer that Service Checker didn't, and that's this beautiful graphical user interface. So the way that most technicians learn is seeing it. So seeing is believing, right? But when the technicians can see it and they see an overlay of the sensors over an animated graphical user interface, it just helps cement the process to them a whole bunch more. So with Hero, it's always connected. It's always running in the background. There's no waiting for it because you can query the data back. As long as you have an active subscription, it will store up to 5 years of data in 1 minute increments. After those 5 years, the data does start dropping off, but there is nothing like having data at your fingertips and at your request whenever you want. So that's the beauty of it. You can see all the compressor speeds, all the sensors for the compressor discharge temperature. All of that stuff is at your fingertips, and it's very intuitive. If I were to hover over the Daikin Hero app here that I have just a picture of, it'll give you what component you're looking at that moment in time, and it gives you a small description of it. as well as the indoor sensors are always visible, so that we can't forget the indoors. We do have these thermistors that can give us insight into how our system is operating, and keeping it visible to everybody at all times. Is my customer comfortable? Do I have a malfunction? Those are some of the things that Hero will always give you full visibility of. EEV pulses, if what the set point is, who's controlling it, because sometimes, let's be honest, the issues are self-inflicted, and so this helps you differentiate from that. But not only that, it keeps you in tune all the time. So imagine or your customer knows before their end user knows what's going on with their system, and they already have a full map roadmap to attack the systems that have happened with that system. That's exactly what Hero does for us right now at this moment in time. Especially with Amirion moving forward, we have full predictive logic that's going on, so the unit doesn't even have to break down before it can tell you, hey, I think I'm going to experience a malfunction because here's what I'm seeing. And it gives you a full readout of everything that's going on within that system. So it's part of the maintenance. Data analysis is definitely part of the maintenance. People think that you always just, you get to site, and once you're on site, that's your maintenance. But there is a little bit more that has to go on with the system, because it is running all the time, and Hero's going to be able to help us out with that. I guess I ran a little fast here. That's what I had for you guys. You guys know that you always have Andrew and Jeff at Long to rely on. They are your guys. We're also available at all times. We're easy to get to, and we have a little prize for you guys here that the guys are going to raffle off. So
appreciate it, Ignacio. So this week's prizes are a $100 Papados gift card, dumpster fire pencil holder, or an alcohol infusion kit. Matt or Madeline will reach out to you to arrange delivery of your prize. Thanks all for attending.